Right, the particle effects tab. This one bakes a live particle effect down into a sprite sheet, so you get the look without paying the runtime cost. Single frame, a looping sequence, or all 8 angles for a directional pack. But before we go anywhere, I want to be straight with you about this tab. It's an expert tab, and it means it. Particle effects vary massively, pack to pack, and honestly, even within the same pack. So this isn't a one-click tool, and I'm not going to pretend it is. A lot of your effects will bake beautifully with barely a touch. Some will need you to roll your sleeves up. We automated everything we could, then handed you the controls for the rest, and with a bit of tweaking and elbow grease you'll get the effect you're after. That's the deal. Let's get into it. First thing you might hit, you load an effect, and nothing. Blank. Don't panic, the effect's fine. Some packs, Cynthia's a good example, use shaders that just don't render onto a transparent background the way our capture needs. The fix is force export shaders. Flip it to alpha tint, and there it is. Now, important, that toggle you just set is on the preview. There's a second one on the export panel, and they're separate. So set it in both. Fix it in the preview, forget it on the export, and you'll bake an empty frame and swear the tool's broken. It's not. You just left one switch off. You might also get a bake that looks murky. A bit of a dark cast around the edges. That's not a broken effect either. That's the alpha and the blend mode not matching up. You've got the controls, alpha capture, auto, straight, or additive, and this shader mode, auto reads most packs correctly. For the ones that can't, you pick the combination that renders clean. Try it, look at it, adjust. That's the whole game on this tab. You'll notice the effect isn't always dead center. And here's the thing, it doesn't need to be. Don't chase perfect framing. All you're after is the full effect sitting inside the frame with nothing clipped off the edges. Make game ready takes care of the trimming and tightening later, so a bit of dead space or an off-center effect is no problem at all. The reason it drifts, by the way, is that the camera frames to where the particles actually are, not the prefab's origin. They fly out into the world, drift and arc, and where they sit changes every frame, so the frame follows the effect, not the pivot. And now and then, it'll look like the whole thing vanished. It hasn't. If you land on a frame with barely any particles alive, right at the start before a burst goes off, say, there's nothing for the camera to frame, so it zooms right in on empty air. Just nudge the zoom or warm it up to a frame where the effect's actually doing something, make sure the whole thing's in shot, and you're good. Now, single shot versus loop. If you just need a single bake, a one and done capture. That's the easy road. No seam to worry about. No stitching. It just works. A loop is where you roll your sleeves up, because now you're joining the end of the effect back to its start and both the framing and the seam have to hold together. So let's talk about looping properly. One thing to get your head round before we start, all this loop stuff. The auto detect, the crossfade, the ping pong, none of it shows up in the live preview. The preview's there to help you hunt down your frames, but the actual looping is math. We run on the captured frames when you export, so you won't see the finished loop until you've baked it. Export, have a look, tweak, go again. That's the rhythm. A bit of elbow grease, like I said. For a lot of effects, anything with a clear shape to it, a burst, an impact, a projectile, this is genuinely easy. Tick auto detect loop point, hit export, snap scores every possible cut, trims to the frames that match closest, and hides whatever's left with a quick crossfade, then tells you how clean the loop came out. And there it is, looping seamlessly. For a big chunk of your effects, that's your day done. But some effects don't cut clean, and this is exactly what the tab warns you about. Continuous ambient stuff, rain, fog, and energy field. There's no natural start and end, so there's nothing tidy to loop. When auto can't nail it, you've got the tools to do it by hand. Warm up lets the effect settle before frame 0, and trim lets you handpick your start and end frames. Cut the loop yourself. If the effect never really returns to where it started, seamless loop crossfades the tail back into the head to hide the join. The overlap slider trades how well it hides the seam against how much motion it softens. And ping pong, this one's guaranteed seamless because it bounces the clip forward and backward. But mind the catch, it reverses the motion on the way back. Brilliant for a shimmer, a pulse, a glow. Wrong for anything directional. Rising smoke, a moving projectile, because you'll see it run backwards. Right tool, right effect. Once it's baking the way you want, single angle, or all 8 for a directional pack, send it through Make Game Ready, and you've got engine ready output. I've got a whole separate video on Game Ready, so if you want the full rundown on that, go give it a watch.